Jesus, stop! Whoa, 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 whoa! Calm down! That's enough projectiles, sir. I think I've had enough now. I've been running for 30 seconds. Why is there an asteroid heading straight for— Kirby is a very easy game, which after a month of dealing with this BS, was sorely needed. It's one of the only mainline Nintendo IPs that I've never tried out. I like Mario, I like Zelda, I like Pokemon, I like Donkey Kong, I like Metroid, I like F-Zero, I like Star Fox. I've never played a Kirby game. It's nothing personal, it's just never piqued my interest. The cute art style mixed with the easy gameplay just didn't do it for me because I'm a manly man who likes guns and suffering. But after seeing the trailer for Forgotten Land and finding out that it's the first 3D Kirby game, I finally decided to give it a try, and my goodness have I been missing out. This game is just so fun. No BS here like long cutscenes that you don't care about, or super slow and boring sections that are only there to extend the game's length, or insane difficulty spikes with the crazy bullshit section that feels like it was overlooked by the developers. No, this is just pure easy fun. Maybe a little bit too easy considering the fact that I spent around 10 hours on this game and didn't die a single time despite the fact that I was playing on hard mode. This is hard mode. But easy gameplay is just Kirby's thing, and honestly it's not even that big of an issue, I'm just poking fun. And for the most part, despite its difficulty, it's really fun to play. Like I said before, this is my first Kirby game, so I don't know how these games play in 2D, which is how these games have always been, but what I can say is that this game works flawlessly in 3D. Everything works so well here to the point where it feels like Kirby has always been a 3D game, ever since his first outing on the Game Boy when he was a white guy. I only have two major complaints with the 3D aspects of this game, with the first being the fact that it could be a little bit hard to control sometimes, especially when the camera gets locked in an awkward area, making it kinda hard to maneuver, and the second being the lack of targeting, making it a bit difficult to hit your enemies sometimes. But those are my only two major complaints. Other than that, the switch to 3D works perfectly. But speaking of the combat, it actually works shockingly well here. I have no complaints about it, and it somehow surprisingly never gets old. With a simple game like this, you'd expect, okay, after 5 hours of spamming B on every enemy, it's gonna get old. But no, I actually enjoyed it the whole way through, and mainly because of all the different abilities that you could use. In typical Kirby fashion, he can suck up any enemy and gain their abilities. That sounds wrong. And this mechanic is what stops this game from getting old. You can legitimately have a bunch of different playstyles with just this ability. I can whip out my sword and mindlessly rush every enemy like I do in every game because I'm an impatient idiot, or sit in a corner and shoot everyone from a distance. Side note, but if you play a fighting game like this, then I don't like you and I'll give you a very angry look after you beat my ass because I'm terrible at countering zoners. There are even more abilities in this game to take out your enemies with, which are a lot of fun. And later in the game, you can even start upgrading certain abilities to make them even better, like going from a normal sword to straight up becoming Meta Knight. And these upgrades are even more fun than the base counterparts, giving you even more abilities like being able to shoot projectiles out of your sword. If only I could have used this weapon while I was fighting Meta Knight himself. Oh yeah, Meta Knight's in this game. He's only available in the Colosseum, which I'm a bit disappointed by. I was hoping to see him in the main story so I could beat his ass for the amount of suffering he gave me in Smash Bros. Brawl. But fighting him here is a perfectly fine alternative, and the Colosseum is actually a lot of fun. Basically just a gauntlet mode with a bunch of bosses that you fight in the main story, topping it off with a Meta Knight who's a great fight. Although I do kind of wish that they limit the amount of M tomatoes that you could use to just one, because that'd make it a lot more challenging and fun. You know, sort of like how All-Star Mode did it from Smash Bros, and how you only get a few recovery hearts. It's not that big of an issue, and you could just simply not pick up M tomatoes to make it harder for yourself, but it would have been nice to have a difficulty option. Other than that minor complaint, the mode is great, and the bosses themselves are surprisingly a lot of fun. I wasn't expecting a Kirby game to have any interesting bosses, but they actually do have some fun ones. They're all really easy like everything else, but it's just a nice little fight to have. For majority of the game, I just jump around and avoid their attacks, but the game actually gives you access to a roll maneuver with iframes to dodge attacks, which I didn't even know I had until near the end of the game. You really don't need it because like I said before, I beat nearly every fight by just jumping around, but it's a lot more fun to fight them this way, making it much more intense. I use the sword for majority of the fight so I can be much more aggressive, which is the way I like to play, but you can take any ability in the game to fight a boss with. You can even go in without anything and just shoot these stars back at them whenever they appear, which honestly can make the bosses a bit more fun since it's a little bit harder than with a weapon. Occasionally when you do beat a boss, they'll actually drop an ability, but majority of the time it's unfortunately one that you've already seen from another normal enemy. It would have been cool to have some boss ability, but unfortunately that's not really here, other than Meta Knight, I guess. But I still love being able to suck up any enemy I want for their weapons. That still doesn't sound right. But if you're getting tired of eating people, then why not just eat a whole ass car? A new feature this game brings into the fray is the Mouthful Mode, which is something I was surprised to find out was new since it fits Kirby's character so well. Throughout the levels, you can find some random items that you can eat to get some weird abilities. These range from drinking lots of water to turning into a car. It's actually a lot of fun and adds some diversity into every level. I mentioned before the simplicity of the gameplay could get a bit boring after a while. Well, they split it up by using these sections, like racing and flying to try to beat a certain timer for a reward, riding around on a roller coaster while trying to dodge a bunch of objects, swimming around on a boat, or this whole minigame that's ripped straight out of this show. I love this addition, and like I said before, it adds much more variety to the levels, while at the same time giving some really funny Kirby designs. Like, look at this one. I never realized how similar Kirby looks to Patrick until they both drank a lot of water. But we've got more to these levels than just the mouthful sections, because they're all so fun even without them. You get so many unique areas to go to. Of course, you start in your default grassy area, and then end up in your scary volcano area, like every Nintendo game for some reason. I can't be the only one who's noticed this trope. But you've got so much more in between that are a lot of fun, like venturing through a mall, and then going through this place with these statue things that try to jump scare you, if this even counts as a jump scare, maybe to a 4-year-old that doesn't understand the concept of fear yet. Then you go here to this pitch black hall and you gotta use this flashlight to know where you're going, but watch out because these enemies will know your location if you use it too much. Then topping it all off with a boss fight. And by the way, that was just one random ass level that I chose, in a game with around 6 worlds and 4 to 5 levels in each. So yeah, you've got a lot of fun levels here with actual variety, and on top of that, these time trials that unlock after every level. Time trials are for some reason just something that I am no good at in any game. I don't know why, but I just suck at them. I see the timer ticking down at the top of the screen and start stressing out because I see myself running out of time and then do terrible. But you know what, even though that I'm trash at it, it's a game mode that I always appreciate when it's included. It's never necessary, but I like seeing it there because it's a nice bit of extra content to enjoy. And surprisingly, I can tell that they put a decent amount of effort into these time trials, because every single one of them is shockingly unique. In a lot of other games, the time trials will simply devolve into, okay, here's a level, now run through it really fast. It's lazy, but it gets the job done. But Kirby uses its unique abilities to its advantage, giving you completely unique time trials every time, where none of them are alike. Like I said before, it wasn't necessary, but I'm really glad it's here. You know, sometimes after a long day of sucking people up, it's nice to just chill back and catch some Give me a sec here. This is a big one. Ooh. Alright. 7,000 pounds. Ooh, not a bad catch. You know, when I picked up a Kirby game, the last thing I was expecting to do was spend 15 minutes of my limited time on this planet fishing. But I did spend over 6 hours fishing on Red Dead 2, so you know what? I'm not complaining, I feel right at home. I have no idea why the devs decided to put fishing of all things into their game, but why not? It's a nice little funny time waster, and I definitely did waste my time considering the fact that I spent 15 minutes on this. What's wrong with me? But sometimes fishing just doesn't make Kirby enough money, and saving the world doesn't pay too well either, so you gotta resort to good old minimum wage torture. Oh yeah. Now I feel right at home. Taking orders, getting yelled at, making disgusting burgers that give you type A diabetes, all while the annoying customers get angry at you. Now I'm living the American dream. Just like fishing, this was completely unnecessary, but holy hell, it's actually so much fun. It's so goddamn simple, but I don't know why, it's just addicting, and I'm genuinely embarrassed to say how much time I spent on this minigame, but you know what, screw it, I spent over an hour.
Don't you feel silly?
I wish I was joking, but I'm not. I spent around an hour and 15 minutes playing this overcooked minigame. It's fun, okay? It's addicting. Play the game and try stopping. You can't. Once you start, you keep going. I don't know why, it's just fun. This entire game is like that. It's just pure fun. It's like simple comfort food. You come back home after a long, hard day of existence, sit down, crack open the case, pop this game in, and now you're happy. You forget all of your life struggles, and you're just having a good time. It's probably not worth $60 if I'm being honest with myself. You only get around 10 hours of content unless you want to be a completionist, but I really don't even care that much. I don't feel shortchanged at all, and I'm probably gonna 100% this game just to get more time out of it. If you're into simple games like this or just want to chill out for a while, then I'd recommend Kirby. Just try the game out and you'll have a good time. Honestly, I'm probably gonna try out some of the older Kirby games on Wii. That's how much I enjoyed this. I'm not sure how good they are, especially considering the fact that a lot of people are saying that Forgotten Land is the best Kirby game, but I'm still willing to give it a shot for some more casual fun.